Yeah, that'll work soon. Welcome to the alley. We have a very special guest this week. Itzel Maganda Chavez. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being on today.
Hello, hello. Good to be here.
Uh, little clap. We always do a clap for our guests. Real quick before we kind of get into it, this week we will be recording our World Cup final. Wilder will be coming in a bit, and we're gonna get that going, and that'll be dropping at some point this week.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
This week, and then once Miguel gets his ass to the theater to watch Avatar,
Yes.
we will do a little Avatar recap. Have you watched Avatar yet?
I have not.
Are you guys planning on it, or are you guys not really movie people?
I mean, we are movie people, but it's not on our list.
Why are you guys
Yeah.
not? You guys hate blue people?
No, no, no. It's just not one of, it didn't catch my attention, I think. So
Really?
maybe Juan really likes it, but maybe
There's a
it's
lot
me.
of controversy right now, actually.
Why?
Well.
Because it like the cultural appropriation with the Native
And
Americans.
James Cameron and the whole colonization thing.
Oh, and then the dolphin shit too.
We'll definitely bring that up
When we
get
watch
into
it, it was.
Okay.
It's a good watch. It's
Yeah.
a blockbuster though. It's like a typical like. There's not much like depth to it. I'd say it's just like a blockbuster. But whatever. That's for
That's for another segment.
That's for another segment. Big
will stay
beverage of
tuned.
choice today, Angry Orchard. I wanted to get something better because you were coming on because there's a lot of good cider. Have you had Two Towns?
Yes.
That's my favorite. Cosmic,
It's good.
Cosmic Crisp.
yes.
fire.
The purple.
Yeah, the
blue.
purple. There's a purple
Yeah.
one and a blue one, but the liquor store down the street only had Angry Orchard. So sorry, but cheers.
here we are.
Thank you for being on.
Hey, cheers. No worries.
Even though this idea low key birthed when I don't want to speak for you, but I was pretty drunk. But I meant it though, and I was like, hey, like I want you to, when we were at Willie's party. Did you? I was for a little
remember.
bit. I was like, I don't think she'll remember.
I remember. I mean, I know I was.
You
know,
disappeared at some point. Like I didn't see you. So,
I was literally around the corner. I don't know why they were questioning where I went. I was around the corner.
well, because we were trying to say bye to you, and then Juan was like, I don't know. Look, say if you see her, say hi. And I was like, oh shit.
I know everybody was talking about me
So
like
what's
I was
the-
doing something bad.
What's the connection there, right? So,
So-
she's
Oh, how am I connected to all of them?
well to hide
To
her, I
me
guess.
necessarily. I
Yeah.
guess. Fuck the other guys.
I mean, I was Willie's roommate for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he used to go to all our family parties.
Willie is my heavily bearded cousin that was on the last
That
World
guitar
Cup
one.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she used to roommate with Willie and her fucking handsome ass fiance. Shout out to Juan.
He's my husband. It's
Oh shit, husband. Sorry, I don't know why I forget you guys like already got married. It's
been a while, like 3 years. We're going to 4.
Oh wow. Congrats.
Yeah,
That's
thank
crazy.
you.
Shout out to Juan. But let's get it rolling. So you lived in Mexico until you were 5. You said
Yeah. I was born in Mexico City.
Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? I mean, I know it's like some people are pretty good with like early memories. Like, do you remember anything kind of growing up there? Is it like a blur at this point?
Yeah, we were actually talking about this this weekend with my family, like having vague memories if my nephew would remember his trip to Disneyland because he's 3 years old. And I was telling my brother, I don't exactly remember Mexico, but I have like images, right, that just can come to me. And there's one specific one of this sort of attraction place, like Stoke City or what's called now, Aquatica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have an image of that kind of place with my family, but I don't really remember exactly who was there. Nobody's ever really told me about it. And I've told my mom, like, did we go there? She said, yeah, you were like 4, but it's not something that, was talked about. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very, very vague memories.
Do you come from a large? I mean, as Mexicans, I think we all have large families. But like your immediate family, do you come from a kind of big immediate family?
I mean, yes and no, because I would say that I'm raised by 2 moms.
Okay.
So my cousin technically is kind of like an older brother because we grew up together. So it's been 5 of us. So it's pretty tight knit, immediate family. And then of course we have our extended family, and then of course the numbers grow, right? Like everybody's.
It goes
Yeah.
into double digit numbers. Huh?
Yeah.
People can't believe
keep,
that
can't
shit.
even
Like
keep
when
track.
you meet, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just say white people because I do have Mexican friends who don't have fat ass. Like you, he
No,
doesn't.
I
He doesn't
actually
have a
don't
big
have a big
family.
family,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, you do and you don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, but they'll be like, no wait, like for example, my nana has fucking 11 kids, including my dad.
Yeah.
So-
My mom comes from, I think, 10
Jesus
siblings.
That's
Christ.
gnarly.
Yeah.
They were putting in work back in the day.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they were.
So is the majority of your extended family here now, or
Yeah, I think, yeah, the majority of my family is here in the States, most in San Diego, but we still have family um, in Mexico that just stayed.
cool? What are your like earliest memories of like getting here to San Diego?
That's a good question.
You know, my first memory of getting here to San Diego is going to McDonald's.
Damn, really?
Yeah, and it was not a good memory because it was sort of that culture shock, I guess, for everybody that had never had processed food, I think.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wait, really? Like
I
so,
think
like,
so, because I'd never had a cheeseburger, right? A kid's meal, whatever. And then I was playing on the slides, and immediately,
Damn.
yeah.
Well,
So,
it all
damn
came back up.
Well, imagine,
Came-
dude, like you grow up eating like quality, like
I don't know that it was quality,
not quality,
but maybe,
but
yeah.
fucking
Homemade food.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm sure if you want to go get tacos, like the fucking cow had just died like 3 hours ago,
Fresh.
and then you
Seriously.
go into
Yeah.
frozen hamburger patties and
Yeah.
deep ass fried food with oil that probably hasn't been changed all
And
day.
like days.
Yeah, damn.
So that's my first memory, and now I don't like pickles because of it. Because now I associate cheeseburgers with pickles at McDonald's, and I don't
That's how I feel about milk.
Yeah.
White milk.
like cow's milk.
Yeah, in general, like I can't. One of my kindergarten teachers forced me to drink milk once.
Oh my god.
So I like puked that shit up.
So it became a repressed memory.
Yeah, like I can
Yeah.
only drink chocolate milk. if it's-
Oh.
Such a child.
Tricks the brain.
yeah, no, it's true. It's kind of crazy how that works. What about like school?
School.
Ooh, that's a good one.
The language barrier too, obviously, I'm sure was a thing at some point.
I don't think I had a language barrier because once I started school, I was 5 years old, so I think I started when most kids did. So maybe I did bilingual classes up until second grade, but I don't think that it was an issue because there were bilingual classes. I think at some point they tried to take them away
Yep.
here, and that's ridiculous, right? Because for me, it was very helpful to have that and kind of transition. But memories in school that I remember, I mean, I went to Choyas Elementary off of 47th and Market.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's changed a lot. I was part, I think, of the class that voted on the mascot, and now it's posted on their front billboard. So it's San Diego is home to me. I think seeing it changing over the years.
I seen in her notes that you've moved to different places though. You've been out outside of San Diego at least, unlike us.
Well, I mean, I've traveled for work. Yeah, I have gotten some opportunities. I was living in LA for about 4 months most recently, and that
Oh.
was, even though it's close, it was rough because the traffic in LA and the life over there is different. It's fast. Yeah.
We like every like 5 episodes we have like at least 10 minutes where we just like shit
Slam
like,
on
just shit on LA
LA.
all the time. Yeah. I don't know. It's just over. I don't know.
Smelly LA.
Smell, yeah. CLA, you fucking suck. She said
Jesus
it too.
Christ! Now it's becoming a reoccurring thing. It's gonna be a run-on joke.
So academically, how were you in school like growing up? I mean, I know, but
Oh, I mean, I love school, honestly. I think I saw school and education as an opportunity for me because I grew up undocumented. So I really didn't think that I had many options other than, whatever education I get, I can take. That's something that can't ever be taken from me, and that's something that I take with me everywhere. Whatever I learn, it's mine, and I can share that, right? So I think for me, school was always something that I could work on and get better at. So I did pretty well. I went to SDSU. It wasn't my first choice, but I had to stay home. I had to stay in San Diego close to my family. And I mean, in a sense, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I got more opportunities here in San Diego, like work experience that's led me, to kind of where I'm at.
I
Now,
see you
yeah.
have a BSSU pin. Sorry,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a sticker. What is that? Is that state related? Is that like a group
No.
and state? No.
No, these are pins for my union, right? Like a
Oh, okay.
staff. Yeah, so big believer in just labor rights because they expand, folks' ability to think beyond paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a union home. My mom is a janitor, right? So she's been cleaning in offices for 20 plus years, and that's hard work. You know, she would tell me about just people are messed up, like they would
No, people suck.
literally smear poop all over the place, right? Just because they're spiteful. And I would remember seeing my mom, you know, getting home from her job really late at night, and that was rough. But at the same time, she had opportunities through her union that allowed her, you know, to be more active, be more independent, and then in turn that kind of reflected on me and what I was seeing with her.
So we're absolutely gonna get. I want to get to that point because that's like that was like a big part of like what I wanted to discuss today. So, in order for you to get there where you are now, which is you're working it for like labor rights and unions and stuff like that, you did your schooling at state. Kind of, is that what kind of took, like, I guess, made the bridge for you to get there? Like, what did you study when you were at San Diego State?
I don't know that it was the bridge, but it definitely helped. I studied political science at SDSU, but I would say that it was actually my work experience that changed my major and my educational goals, right, and where I actually ended up with my degree, because I started getting involved with immigrant rights when I was in high school. So for me, I was undeclared, I think for about a year, maybe 2 years of my college career. So, you know, it was that work experience that made me say, okay, like, what degree should I get to get me more or further where I want to go with this work?
So, what was your work experience while you were in school or high school, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah, so I was sharing a lot of my personal experience, which, you know, again, it's like the interrelational experience of work and your personal life, which is rough. But I was doing immigration rights activism. So, like I shared, I was undocumented, and up until 2012, DACA was a program that was announced, and I was one of those people that benefited from it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and everything just kind of changed after that. Wait, I'm sorry. What was it?
No. You
Yeah.
answer the question. Okay. Damn, it's been 10 years since
Yeah.
DACA was announced. And it is still going, right? They weren't able to, because they were trying to put a
Well,
halt to it.
you know, it's still going back and forth, and there really just needs to be a policy solution that comes from Congress. Because what came from President Obama, right? It's not law, and it can be taken by the next president, right? If nothing changes in this presidency. And what year are we in?
2020, almost going to 2023.
Right? So we're going into another presidential election, and so if the next president decides to take it away and do what Trump did, you know, and kind of hold it over people, I'm going to take it away or not. It's just ridiculous. We just need something permanent.
I'm
And-
assuming during like Trump's years, it was kind of tough out there.
Oh, yeah.
For people like that.
Yeah.
Because it seemed, obviously, it was blasted all over the news, and there were just so many other like things that came along with it. I could already imagine, like, when it comes to like social issues, the amount of like work that people like that were putting in just to like, I don't know, keep it going, stay in it, you know?
Yeah.
How was and that's actually a good kind of thing to hop into.
Segue.
Just a little off track, but during like initially when Trump first got elected and became president, how did you kind of live that? Because you were, like you said, you are undocumented, and I mean, I could speak from experience. My parents are/were, I don't know, they're in some kind of progress, but I know from my experience that shit was fucking scary. And I went to school with a lot of kids who either were undocumented or their parents were undocumented, or just people of color in general, and that shit was fucking scary to everybody. At first, it was like a shock, and then, at least for us, or for me at least, it kind of set in. It's like, like it's the same. It was a lot of like every other president, to be honest. They just kind of say a lot of shit and nothing really happens. But from your experience, I don't know how was it being on that side of the coin?
Yeah. I mean, it was rough. I remember when that decision was made, right? It was a sad night. And then the next morning, I think, was worse, just waking up to the realization of, oh, wow, this is real.
Like
this
it settled
shit's
in.
real. Yeah, and what's going to happen next? And I think immediately, maybe a day or two after that, he was already announcing to take it away. and so on. And to be somebody in that position, right, where your future is, being dangled in front of you, and you may have it, you may not, kind of situation, it's hard to plan, right? It's hard to think, where am I going to be in the next year? Should I even pay to renew this, or should I save that money? Because it's a big chunk of money every 2 years, right? That for a lot of folks, it's a lot, multiple kids in one family that may need that.
It's too much to handle. It becomes too much to handle.
Right. So it's a big expense on top of trying to make it. And, it was rough. I remember I even thought at some point, I'm leaving, I'm done. I'm over this. Like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take my education, like I was talking about, and take it with me and see what I can do with it.
Oh, you were thinking about going back home?
Yeah, for
sure.
Wow. Or even other countries, exploring other options. And a lot of people did that because, why let somebody decide your future? That's just toying with you. And that's essentially what it was. Yeah.
How much do you have to pay? I didn't even know. Like I said, my mom was like, oh man, I'm like forgetting the rules about it. Well, obviously when it first came out, it was like it was obviously a huge deal. So it's basically, in order to qualify for that, wait, people can still apply now, or no? Or is that kind of?
No, I believe at this moment, no initial applications can
It's
be
whoever
sent.
has it, like whoever got it,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Dude, that's insane.
They can renew.
Yeah. So you had to you had to have been here.
So, I mean, if I remember correctly, it's been some years that
Yeah,
I've
no, for sure.
done.
Sorry, I'm over here asking you.
No, so it's fine. I believe that you had to have been here since 2012 or 2007, I'm sorry, and have a certain educational requirement, which is like either graduated from high school, GED, in school, or something like that. And you couldn't leave and have presence here in the United States and so on, not have a criminal record, anything like that.
Damn.
They're essentially fucking almost close to being or trying to become a citizen kind of rules, kind of vibe.
I mean, it's difficult to become a citizen. That's a whole nother process, right? Because this was just, DACA is sort of like a temporary program to allow you to work here, but you can't leave, right? You can't travel. If your family's sick, you can't go see them, right? And if you want to apply, that's a whole nother process. That's a whole nother fee. And then there isn't any pathway to citizenship, which is, I think, the biggest issue with the program, because it just kind of keeps you as a lower class citizen. You can never be a resident. You can never be a citizen.
Never like fully progress, I guess, in a way.
You can never fully integrate, right? If that's what is essentially what it's supposed to do.
So like for you, like that you've had it now for a while. You've been working. You've been like doing very well. Like, so there's no for like you as far as like any potential like pathway to citizenship. Is there anything like available for you right now?
Well, I mean, for me, it's a little bit different because I got married, so that was a pathway that opened to me, right? But not everybody has that opportunity, right? Or the cards don't align, or whatever it may be. So fortunately for me, that was a good thing, and my cards aligned with.
They were trying
my
to crack
partner.
down on that too, though, right? Like through marriage, like weren't there something? I remember I had overheard. Like I said, I'm not the most politically savvy person, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I mean, it's a hard process, I'll tell you that, having gone through it, right? You have to demonstrate that this is a real relationship, right? That this is your partner for years and that you are in love and this is a real marriage and so on. So, I mean, they basically ask you about your intimacies, right? And things like
Wow.
that. So
that's insane.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that at all. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
was
it
part of
wasn't
that
my
process.
case, but I know that it can happen to people. Yeah.
Insane.
Well, the thing is, I guess the reasoning for that is because a lot of people. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
they
you've
get
heard
yeah.
they do it like
right,
just
right,
to.
and they have to find out if it's a
It
real
becomes
marriage
like
or not.
I don't know, like a deal, sort of like that. That's
Yeah,
being
yeah,
made.
yeah.
Money's involved too all
For
the
sure.
time.
Just a real quick note on the DACA thing. I know somebody, I would never name them by name, but it's a family member, funny enough, who qualified for the whole thing, but he didn't want to finish school. Like he had like a year of schooling left, and he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
What is he doing now?
I'm not gonna. It's a little too. I'll tell you like once we go on break. You know him. Funny
Okay.
enough. Yeah, you do know him.
Okay.
But what's it called? Anyways, so
Just blasted him real quick.
no, it's not a blast. It's just like, damn, like, you know how
Okay.
many, like,
Yeah, the opportunity. I
you
know.
know how
I
many people wish they
Yeah.
had that opportunity? Like,
Yeah.
that sucks. Like, I get it. Like, it does suck that you know, I mean, like you said, it's not like they're necessarily giving you fucking freedom and the ability to not have to like look over your shoulder. But hey, at the very least, I mean, you can work at jobs that aren't just
Yeah.
like fast food places. Like,
It opens doors.
it opens some doors, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own.
I mean, to each their own, and everybody makes their own decisions, right? And I think that was also a common misconception with DACA that all DACA students, or not DACA students, there I go, DACA mentored folks had an educational, aspirational career or whatever. And that's not necessarily true, right? There were everyday folks working too. They may have graduated from high school and gone off to work in a trade, and they're doing, just as good work as somebody who had gone to college. So I think that for me was also a narrative that bothered me, that it was always like, oh, they deserve it because they're the A grade students, right? And that's not
That's
true.
not the case.
No,
Right,
it's not that. It shouldn't be that black and white. Like, I know people who literally just got it just to at least be able to like work and
Yeah.
because do they give them do they give you guys like
Yeah.
a social with that and everything?
you
Yeah,
can
right.
work
So
with
you,
that social.
yeah. See, like, so at least like you're able to buy property too. I'm assuming and things like that. So I mean that's better than like not never being able
Still
to.
though, that still gets. I'm still thinking about what you said about how you can't fully progress.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
kinda-
you're stuck.
It gets me fucked up. That's sad.
Yeah. There's no way, right? I mean, marriage is an option, but it's not a solution for everybody.
But
Imagine
it was a you would have never. Did you ever? Okay, let's get into the soulmate stuff.
Oh, here we go,
Okay.
dude.
Just because I love
You know what I'm saying?
Just because I love your.
No,
husband.
wait. We're probably thinking the same thing. I hate this. I was gonna talk about like complications. Like, what if something happens? Like, if you get divorced, like everything just gets removed, and it's just you're back to square one. Is that like the case?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, there's legality
Oh my
behind all of
God,
it.
Anything they kind of fuck with you, they will. God. But anyways, rose petals, your man's. That's how it's crazy. That's
Wait,
how.
right?
Rose petals.
What's that?
Why? Hey, why is that like his?
Why is that his
Or
nickname?
is that like his nickname to everybody, or is that how he introduced himself to me?
That's just how he introduces himself to people.
He does?
But he
Okay.
has been using that nickname for a long time.
I wonder if that's like an old Xbox. Something like it would be like an Xbox name. I wonder if
It
like,
was
Yeah.
his Xbox.
Oh, you see, it's probably his Xbox name.
Yeah.
It's
Called
kind
it.
of like Mo is like Big Full.
Big Full, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Have you asked him why it's rose petals?
No, I never
You
asked
should
him.
ask him.
Oh, he has a story for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he has a
Oh,
Well, of
okay.
course, I'm sure it's some.
Okay, yeah, I need to ask him. Anyways, so how long? Wait, so did you meet Juan over at when you guys were all roommates? Is that how you guys met, or you knew him before?
No, I knew him before then. I actually met Juan back when I was 15. So,
Damn.
yeah, so it's been a long time.
Wait, you guys go to high school together?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So it was my quinceañera, and I was practicing doing my thing with my chambelanes, and then he was working the venue. He was on the decorating team, and they did not do a very good job. Let me tell you,
That's
in decorating that venue.
insane.
But yeah, he tried to talk to me that day. I was not feeling it. I said, I need to focus. I am focused. I need
I'm
to
dancing my special secret dance right now. Please leave me alone.
exactly.
This is a very
exactly.
expensive matter that we're.
He's
paying
about to
for,
pick me up
sir.
and spin me. You're bothering me.
My time here is limited, So I didn't really give him the time of day then, but that's when we met. And then during my quinceañera, I've been going to school with his cousin. I didn't know, right? Since I was in 5th grade. So
That's insane.
yeah, Eric gives me a letter, and it comes from Juanito, and I'm like, who the hell
A
is this?
letter?
Yeah, totally romantic like
Hell
that.
yeah.
And I was just very confused. I said, who is this man's, and where is he, and why is he not here? Because I don't know who this is. And then he told me, oh, it's my cousin. I was just like, whatever. I don't know who this person is. I didn't really remember that was the guy. And then I think months later, or maybe weeks later, it wasn't months, he added me on MySpace. You remember MySpace? Yeah. So we started having conversations there, and then texting and phone. And
Dang,
so
and it's
on,
been since
yeah.
then. That's insane. Well, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I wish if we would have. If I still had, I have a video of him like humping Willie on one of his birthdays.
I'm sure there's
I
a lot
wish
of
I still
footage.
had that video saved because I like that would be a perfect clip. That shit was hilarious. I had the video and like 20 pictures of it.
Dang,
It
so
was,
you guys are really close then. So like when you guys were roommates, you guys all like
yeah.
became super close.
Willie would
Really?
throw parties like once
Ragers?
a month, maybe. I
You're
think.
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
like, there was a
they
time
happened
there.
often. The house it had a nickname. Yeah, La
Yeah.
Casa Chingona.
Is that that was a nickname?
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
You guys had that shit. That shit was a fun house. I miss
Yeah.
going to parties there. But anyways, so do you believe in soulmates?
That's a good question. And I was listening to your episode about that, right, with the male perspective, and it was interesting to hear it
Ah,
out.
shit.
But do I believe in soulmates? I think it's a loaded question because, and this is related back to marriage advice that I heard, back from a coworker years ago. And I think people change, right? So when you think about soulmate, you're kind of like idealizing this person that is your perfect match, gets all your check boxes, right? Your soulmate, your other half, your better half, and so on. And I think, honestly, that's unrealistic. And for people, you have to either accept change and the changes in that person and grow together, or you could grow apart. And I think, you could still love that person just as deeply. So I don't know. I don't think I could answer that question directly, but I think it has to do with each person. Can you accept change or not? And can you grow with it or not?
So from what I just got is that marriage is about fucking adaptation to the person and just working off of each other's like I don't know nuances when it comes to everything and specifically.
Did you? Because there's people that still nowadays, they're not really big for marriage. Were you guys both like, fuck yeah, like let's get married, or like would you have been? Because there's people now that are like they're 100% confident, like yeah, that's my person, but like we both don't really like necessarily need the marriage thing. Like, is that where you guys were, or if that I don't know if that's too personal to ask. I mean,
Oh, that's a really good question, and it's a good question because it's kind of both, At some point, I was there at I want marriage, and he was not, and so we grew apart, right? And we separated. We went our own ways because we were not in the same page, right? But we came back together because that's just how life worked out, and then we both wanted it at that point in time, and it was the right timing. And that's what I mean about, you could grow together and grow apart, but if you are meant to be together, then you will be. And if you're not, then that's okay, you'll figure it out. But life is funny that way, I think.
So I did not mean to cut you off earlier. Like I said, we were gonna get back to it. So right now you're currently a labor organizer, right?
Yes, I am.
So can you, as little into detail as you have to get into, what does your job necessarily entail?
Ooh, so I organize non-union workers. What that means is, people that are working a job that may not give them fair wages, or, in many cases are stealing wages, barely give them any benefits or things like that. So these are the folks that we target for the most part, folks that are very low wage workers. And so right now, my work is focusing on airport workers, for example. And so it's been a learning experience for me because I have done organizing before, but I've done immigrant rights organizing, and it's a little bit different. And this is more, relating to people, talking to people, hearing them out. What are their issues? What do they really care about? Because, for many people, we take for granted, for example, having a table to sit for lunch. And folks at the airport don't necessarily have somewhere they can actually eat their lunch. And for them, that's important, right? That's a priority. So it's fun. And I would say about my work, it's very interconnected with other social issues. So whenever, for example, Black Lives Matter needs help, labor will jump on. When immigrant rights needs help, labor will jump on. And I think that's really why I love it, because at the end of the day, right, the workers are the people that are affected by many other issues. And so In labor, we have to be very connected to that and aware of those other issues, hurting people's everyday work.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask like some very like I'm a child questions, but because I want to understand, right?
Sure.
So how do you necessarily come into contact with these airport workers? Like, do you work at an office and then like you get like assigned to a certain group for a certain amount of time, or how does that work out?
So I mean, it's different, right? So for example, I'll use when I went to LA, because we get assigned to different campaigns.
Okay.
There's different campaigns happening statewide or even throughout the country, right? There's organizing happening throughout the United States, for example, at airports. That's just something that's happening nationwide. But when I was in LA, I was assigned, right, to help with a county hospital, the janitorial workers that don't have health care, right? We're trying to get them health care. So we're trying to get those workers mobilized and ready to fight basically against management to tell them, hey, we're gonna stop work if you don't give us health care because it's not fair. We're exposing our lives, exposed to so many diseases, right? And it's not fair that the company's not providing health care. And it's not necessarily just the company, right? We could also be fighting politicians and the county as a whole, right? These county institutions should provide health care for all their workers. They have money, right? Where do our taxes go? They should be for the people that are working these places. So it has layers, right? This work and organizing, because you kind of have to work with different sectors.
And so you said this like heading into this field of work is particularly rewarding because you say that this is, it kind of all trickles back to your mom. So would you say you'd say you watch your mom get home after like a long day, people were being pieces of shit and fucking literally smearing shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's like, I mean, fuck, I can't even imagine. Like, that's pretty tough to, have to watch. But you said that there, in your mom's case, do you think there were people like yourself able to help her, like as far as, with labor rights?
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's led me back into that work, right? And recognizing that somebody like me could help, another mom somewhere else, and it kind of creates that ripple effect. And so I saw it with my mom, just how much more confident she's become, how much more she'll stand up for management if she's not getting paid. She knows who to go to, right? She won't just stay silent. So I see that way too often happen to our people, and so to know that that was a tool for her, it's a good positive reminder about why I should be doing this type of work.
Have there been any like moments to you that stand out that were like, I don't know, particularly like rewarding, where it was like, damn, like that's why I do this, like right here? I don't know, maybe like a moment you had with like one of your, I don't know if you'd call them clients, but people that you're helping, that you're working with necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of moments. I just can't think of one.
Like that springs to mind.
Yeah,
right.
that comes to mind right now. But I mean, yeah, I can't think of one right now. But there's definitely been plenty.
Horror stories.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of horror stories too. I mean, one that I remember, but that was more immigrant rights organizing, was like when the Central American refugees were coming 2014, 2016. And meeting those families. And I remember at some point we had just received the dad, and he was asking about his son and his wife. Had we received them yet? Had they come in yet? And I think maybe 3-5 days passed, and every day, same thing. Are their names here? And no, todavía no. They're not here yet. And then until the day that they finally made it, and that reunification, that was beautiful.
Damn.
Being able to witness that, somebody who may have thought, I'm never going to see my child again, I'm never going to see my wife again. So that was beautiful, and it was rough, working in those cases, because I'm not a social worker. I was not trained to do that type of work, but the situation kind of just
You were able
needed
to see
it.
it firsthand.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So how did you, because I know you're not doing this. Like, you don't strike me as a person that's doing any of this for money at all. So initially, like, because obviously you are at a point where you are getting paid to do this, where did you have to start like to getting your foot in the door initially, like getting into all these like organizing campaigns and all that stuff? Was that like something you had to volunteer for initially, like through? And I'm assuming you even probably the opportunities popped up while you were at school, or yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how it started, but also because I was so involved, with my mom and her union. That's kind of how I even got my foot in the door in the first place, right from an opportunity that I heard from her union. They gave me the opportunity to intern, right, at the organization that I worked for a very long time. And so everything after that just kind of led from one opportunity to another. And it came kind of full circle because now I'm doing labor organizing, which is kind of how I started in the first place.
Yeah, that's literally what I was gonna say. Like this whole thing is just it's a full circle kind of thing.
Yeah.
How does your mom? What does your mom say about what you're doing? Like, I don't know. Is she? I mean, I'm sure. Obviously, she's proud, but
Yeah, I think she's very proud, and she posts way too much on Facebook.
does she?
She definitely does. But
All these little articles about you and shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's cringy to me. I don't like to see it, but
I mean, what's
but I
not to
know
be
she's
proud about though? That's super cool.
it's really nice. But to me, it's an homage to what she's done, and
Of course.
seeing her, work crazy hours, because I can't imagine. I work with people every day that do that, but I can't imagine working those hours every day and how debilitating that is, and how that interrupts your everyday life, living with your kids,
I was
spending
gonna say,
time with
then
them.
coming back home to a million other problems back
Yeah.
at home. That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any follow up questions?
No, sir. You're doing beautiful.
So last week when we had our friend Lauren on, right now she's working in a lab. She just when she got here, she was just kind of figuring things out. She moved from Tahoe, came over to San Diego, and she found like a stable, like steady job. And so something I asked her is like, what's next for you? So that's something I like asking people a lot. Like, I know right now it seems like you're in a very good spot. Like, it seems like you're pretty happy. You have a really handsome husband. But
I think you have a crush on him, Heidi.
Hey,
I think he
low key, I think I think Willie gets a little jealous 'cause he thinks I have a crush on him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. That's okay.
That's okay though. He's
I don't
handsome,
mind.
bro.
Really?
Yeah, he's handsome.
I'm a confident person. I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Nah,
That's great.
I don't even shoot that way, so it's all good. Anyways, what's your I don't want to say what's your next step, but like what's next for you? Like, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, are you talking about
Like what? I don't know. Like if you,
personal?
I think he means job.
job or like
Projects.
like any projects that you're like you want to work on or.
I mean, just projecting and speaking it into existence. I definitely want to go back to school. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to go back to school in Mexico because I didn't have that opportunity, and now that I do,
That's a flex.
I really want to explore that. And my eye has been set on UNAM, and we'll see.
That's a massive flex if you went back over there and did like your.
Got my master's over there. That's a goal.
That'd be a crazy flex.
When was the first time you went back after you came?
I went back in 2017. So
For the first time.
yeah. So I got here in 1999, and then I left 2017.
Yeah. How was that like? Where'd you go, TJ? Or
Yeah,
like, you took a
I
trip?
just went to TJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even that was eye-opening.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, mind-blowing, because I knew, right, about the poverty just reading, but I'd never experienced it. And just coming back in
It's
the
kind of
border.
gnarly, huh?
Is it? I think it's kind of cool. Like, we're literally, 10, 15 minutes
Yeah.
from experience. It's a whole nother world, bro.
Oh,
we never
literally.
think about that because we grew up
Right.
here and we've gone back and forth several times.
Right.
Like, we knew what it was like crossing the border, making the line.
Yeah.
I actually hate going to TJ because
There's there's nothing appealing for me to go. Like, it's just like, especially the line on the way back.
The
That
line
just
is
makes
the
it
only thing
even
that
less
pisses me off.
appealing.
But yeah,
I mean-
it's insane that we have that
Yeah.
opportunity and we kind of take it for granted, I think.
So I guess I did a pretty shitty job in the leading because this is where I was trying to lead you here, but Human Rights Watch. What is it?
Oh, so that is an international nonprofit organization. And I think I've been in love with it since I was in college and my human rights class, and learning about it and the work that they do, right? And just being vigilant about human rights violations around the world, and people that get forgotten and just looked over in history books or don't even get written about, and we don't even find out about genocides that happen around the world. And so I think going back to school is part of that preparation, so that maybe one day, that's my goal. I want to be able to work in an organization like that, if not that.
So when I Googled them,
What is it about? Yeah.
it says defending rights of people in 100 countries worldwide, which I'm sure is obviously a very simplistic way.
The most vague shit I've ever read.
But
in my
is
life.
that, would you say that's pretty accurate?
Yeah,
And I'm sure it's over 100 countries.
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's
sure
not
it's
like
more,
they can stop
and
at
I'm sure
one.
it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Has it been around for a very long time already?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know honestly the year of the foundation. Don't ask me.
No, I know you're not
Yeah.
Wikipedia here.
Yeah.
But, so to get into something like that, because it sounds similar to like, how do I say it? Like Abigail, for example, like she's always thought about, I think it's the Peace Corps.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you volunteer for. I'm sure this isn't something you can just volunteer for, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but even those positions to volunteer are
It's like
counted
hard to
and
get in.
limited.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like a goal of yours?
Not to volunteer. I want to work.
No, for sure. Yeah. You're like, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
paid. I know, for sure, of course,
Yeah,
of course.
there's a few prerequisites needed to fucking be able to
Yeah.
even step a foot in the door to
Right.
someplace like that.
So when I looked them up, something popped up. Did you follow the World Cup at all by chance? Or
I
not
did,
really?
I did.
Yeah. So this
Oh,
was
yeah.
kind of interesting. Literally, when I Googled Human Rights Watch, this popped up, and it had to do with the World Cup. But like the whole labor rights situation that's actually that went down in Qatar.
Right.
It's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess FIFA made 7.5 billion in revenue, and 220 billion dollars were pumped into stadiums. And I didn't really get to see any statistics or like exact numbers of how many people were hurt or injured or passed away just from
Yeah.
working in
Exhaustion.
shitty conditions, right?
Yeah, and getting hurt, exhaustion, no food, no breaks, no stops. Right. And what happens to these people?
Wait, it was just to construct everything?
Yeah, bro. And did you like look into any of this before, during, or after this? Like,
No, I mean, I knew it was happening, right? And of course, I mean, they're watching Human Rights Watch, but I knew that it happened when it happened in Brazil, right? Because all the Haitians that were
that
coming
happened
through
in
our
Brazil too?
border,
Yeah.
it's because Brazil hired all of these Haitians, right? So they brought in labor
Dude,
from Haiti.
insane.
And all of these people had nowhere to go after the stadiums were built, right? So that's why they migrated north. And so it takes a real human toll, these things, right? And I understand FIFA
World Cup.
is making money, right, off of this. And the decision to do it in Qatar after knowing that all of these human rights violations were happening is something that I think people should question. I get that, the people are fanatics and would rather look the other way, but real people died, and I can't look the other way for that.
no, yeah, it's insane, and that's why there's not everybody, but there's still like pretty prominent people within like the soccer world that's like, nah, like this shit's tainted. Like, doesn't matter how great it was, because yeah, soccer wise, and we'll get into that later on, but soccer wise, yeah, it was one of the best, I think, just like competitive wise World Cups ever. But yeah, that's when they look back at it, like there's a big ass dark mark on that, because that's what went down was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
The Brazil one was crazy. I talked about it in the last one. Like, they were protesting because, I mean, Brazil was poor. I mean, I'm sure it is. I don't know. I don't like check on it, but they're poor as fuck, and they're pumping in, like, they see them getting billions of dollars pumped into stadiums. Like, that's
It's kind of sus.
yeah, it's pretty fucked. I have a fucking random question. I probably
Sure.
should have asked this earlier, but so would you say you grew around like a fair amount of like mainly Mexican men by chance, or no? Or were you more like surrounded by girls?
I mean, I think both.
Yeah. So you say,
Fairly
would you
split.
say you have a pretty good like understanding of both like ideas?
I wouldn't say I
I'm not
understand it
understanding,
from the
but-
male perspective, but I was raised in both. I had two older brothers, and
Okay.
yeah, so
So we've kind of joked about it a few times on here, but we say that a lot of times, like we feel like Mexican people can like be very, I don't want to say hateful,
Prideful.
but prideful. Not even prideful, but very like they don't wish well upon their own people. Especially like within families, I think. Like very maybe envy. I don't know if that's the best word for it. Closest thing to it.
We're too competitive, bro.
Do you think that you agree with that?
I mean, have I seen it in our culture? Yes, but I've also seen it in other cultures. So, I mean, I have family that has definitely been that way, but I also have family that isn't. So I don't want to
Generalize.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought about that too. I was like, like it's easy for me to say that about, our culture because I don't know other people's cultures. This is the only other culture that I have. But I don't know. I always feel like I've seen it a lot in family specifically. Like you can't see one other person doing well and just be like, damn, like they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
It's just more like this, and it always has to be a but.
Yeah. I mean, call it out, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's hard for a lot of us to do and just over a lot of things in our families. But I think a lot of our people just need to hear it and say, hey, you're being an asshole. Like,
Do you think it'll change over time? Specifically with, because this is different in a whole other country,
Yeah.
but specifically here with like Mexican Americans, you think slowly but surely we're going to reach a point where it's going to be different?
I think so, especially just because we're like, I mean, think about it, like just you and I, the way we, or you too. I mean, even though you say you want to go back and study, but I mean, I'm sure ideally you want to stay here to live, right? Or would you want to start a family? I mean, you never know, huh? That's like you never know.
yeah.
But like, I obviously I plan on like living here for a while, branching out, growing my tree. But I would assume at some point it's like, yeah, different ideologies are passed on. Because I think that's an older generation thing.
That's true,
Being
too.
a hater is like an older, I mean, I think at least.
I mean, that's true, too, because you'll always hear, older generations, so why don't you have a house at this point? Or where are you in life? I was already here.
like if they can't
I already
see
had
the
3
fucking
kids at your age kind of situation. And, but I think Jenna Ortega said it. They're going to die off.
She said that?
I forget
She
Jenna
did.
Ortega.
Where, and what interview? What the fuck?
I don't remember exactly. But
I forget that
it
she's
was the
Mexican,
same,
bro.
She's
same
not.
sentiment.
She's Mexican.
I
She's
think-
Mexican
yeah,
and something
yeah,
else.
Puerto Rican, I think.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
But it's like half though. It's not like
She's
a
more
small
Mexican
fraction, bro. It's like
than
a pretty
Puerto Rican.
big piece. Yeah.
Let's not even watch Wednesday, bro. I haven't
show?
even watched
Did
it.
you?
It's a good show,
Is it a
yeah,
good show?
yeah.
I heard she killed it.
You watched it? Oh, you
No,
haven't
no,
watched
I haven't watched it. No.
it?
No?
We'll probably do that too.
I'm not into like for
Highly
those
recommend.
those kind of shows. Like I'm not I've never watched The Addams Family.
Me either.
Well, I hadn't either, but I really like her and just her acting and other things. So
She
Yeah,
was
I heard
cool
she was
and
amazing.
I liked her in. She
X.
came out in X, but she came out. I saw her in something else before
Scream.
that. But no, even before Scream. Like I don't know if it was a movie with like the escape room, but
Oh yeah, maybe.
I
something
think it
like
might have been that.
I don't remember which one, but it was about a school shooting. I don't remember the
that. Oh,
name.
she came out something. It was a show on HBO.
That one was.
Yeah, no,
that one was rough.
she's really good though. Like she's
Yeah.
really good.
Rising Star.
Is there any advice that I think that's the best? I think that'll be the best way to wrap up. Is there any advice that you have? I don't know for. I don't even want to just say for like
the
younger,
younger generation?
younger generation.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, that is.
It is a very loaded question, and you can answer however the fuck you please. But
Yeah.
I would say fair, like very easy to say. And this isn't a diss to anybody else that's been on, but I think like if we're going, I think you're one of the wiser or probably the wisest person we've had on so far. So
Makes me feel like an old man.
no, why wisdom doesn't? You don't have to be old to have wisdom. I have a lot of wisdom.
I
I'm
know
only 24.
exactly what Hyder's trying to say, and it's true.
Thank
So yeah. of
Just
course.
from a different, like.
This episode was very introspective.
Yeah, we and it's kind of why we like when people. I don't know. We always get the number one thing we always get is like, oh, like what am I gonna talk about, right? Like people always that's their thing, and I'm like, no, just because it's because they see like we've had like friends that are like creatives. They want to make like the fucking shirt I'm wearing. It's like our friend that is like he has his own brown. Shout out We Ugly and Adrian. But so they think that they have to necessarily be like a creative mind to be able to like for us to want to have you on. And this thing was always about like, nah, like we fucking thought about this while we were hanging out like in an alley and we were just drinking during the pandemic. Like it's just all walks of life. Everybody has something to contribute. So
See, like for example, next episode we're having another friend of ours. That's another thing that I wanted to get at. We've been having friends, and now in your case, I guess acquaintances, mutual friends. But at one point, we're trying to reach something where it's like we're branching out to people we don't even know.
Yeah,
like, you know what I
inviting
mean? That
people
we're gonna
in.
be meeting for the first time when we meet up, or whatever the case may be. So this is a great, I think, episode to exemplify that. Like we're trying to cover all aspects of life, not just creative stuff that Hyder was talking about.
But yeah, anyways, back to the question. Like, what's something you tell your younger self?
Oh, that's
you just
that was
changed
better.
it on me.
That was better.
There you go. But that's easier because that familiarizes it. Like, okay.
I guess what's something I tell my younger self? To take it easy because I worry a lot. My brain just,
That's a great fucking.
You worry a lot?
Definitely, the gears are always, turning in there for whatever it may be, and so I would just tell myself to take it easy. It's gonna work out. One of my coworkers from LA has a tattoo on her arm. It says "Lo que será será," and it's true. What will be will be. So
Just let stuff play out. Huh?
You don't
Yeah.
strike me as, but then again, like obviously, like what I've maybe seen you like 10 times, maybe 10 times in my life. So I obviously wouldn't know. But you don't strike. You're a little like not a little. You're very confident and very. But you've also like there. I mean, you've been in situations where you have to be able to keep composure and know how to like.
I mean, especially in your field of work,
Yeah.
Like,
this
you
is a
have to-
nice interview. I've gotten very interesting questions.
Really?
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, we're also not like this was probably the closest we've ever gotten to talking about politics on here. Like necessarily, like that's the closest. Like so, because we don't fucking know enough to like grill people with questions. Like I think that's what people think too, that we're gonna be asking like some out of pocket shit. It's like, dude, we're not smart enough for that. We're actually not smart enough for that.
I mean, it depends.
No, it's not necessarily that. Just having a conversation that strikes thought.
Yeah,
That's all.
exactly. I love that.
So don't worry too much. Is that what you said?
Like, don't take yourself too seriously. It's fine.
I like that.
Live it up.
Yeah,
I like that. Beautiful.
exactly. Live it up.
Well, I love this episode.
You do.
We appreciate you a lot for having on. I know
Likewise.
you're a busy girl.
No, it was
There'll
a
probably be a
pleasure.
round 2 somewhere in the near
Yeah,
future.
with fucking Juan, bro. That'll be fun.
Okay, yeah, I have to convince him.
But he has to be.
He's a lot more shy and awkward, I think, in these things.
We've had a couple of shy and awkward people. We'll make it work.
Yeah,
As soon as you get, we always say this. Second half, once they start drinking, it'll pick up.
This one was pretty like for the most.
It's a nice-
So
it's a slow
usually
ride.
you hear a pretty like because you saw it today like we did 30 and 30. You hear a crazy spike with the
Big
second one. It's
tonal
like
change.
tonal a lot of-
Ambiance changes.
a little slurring here and there.
Oh, so you didn't get drunk enough.
No, not
No,
today.
but what's it called? I don't know. I wanted to keep a little more composure because I wanted to sound a little more
Professional.
All right.
but we appreciate you having. We appreciate. See, there you go. There was. The
Yeah, start
There
slurring,
it was.
stuttering.
There it is.
You said eloquent, so that's good.
Thank you so much for being on. It was great.
you.
Real quick, we're gonna plug before we lead you to plug some stuff. If you have anything, follow us on our socials, guys. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at the Alley Podcast. Send us mailbag. We're doing different segments now. If you haven't tuned in, tune in. We're doing shit from every fucking perspective on earth. We're doing movies. We're doing the fucking World Cup.
Hell
It's
yeah.
just like we need recommendations, and we appreciate emails. You can email us at thealleypodcast@gmail.com. Two S's in podcast.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, how do you want to? No, your turn.
Good.
You want to plug anything?
You close us out.
You want to shout out anyone?
My husband.
There you go.
I was gonna shout him out, but I guess you beat me. to
No,
it.
but you shouted him out like 5 times.
And Milo.
It's always good to go for a third, bro. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week.
Thanks, guys.